Hello, lore nerds. Today I'm switching it up, covering some Elder Scrolls lore for a change. But don't worry, I still intend to cover Forgotten Realms lore, simply switching that between the two universes when I feel like it. To start our trip into the Elder Scrolls universe, I am starting with the Aedra, and you can expect a video on the Daedra sometime in the future. So, what are the Aedra? Aedra are a classification of the original spirits that were born of the interplay between Anu and Padme, the personifications of the primal forces of stasis and change. It should be noted that this form of classification is mainly an elven thing, whereas ancient human races and the Khajiit and Argonians have their own religions that often don't use these terms. However, this classification and distinction only came about well after these original beings came to be. At some point, the trickster Lorkhan, as he is often portrayed by the elves, deceived some of the original spirits into creating the world Mundus. Those that refused to give their energy to the project are called the Daedra, whose name means not our ancestors. Those that did give their power to creating the world are the Aedra, or ancestors. There is a third group of those that begun to give their power but soon realized the deception and stopped, fleeing into Aetherius and puncturing holes in the sky that became the stars. These were led by Magnus and they are known as the Magnagi. Something to keep in mind is the perception of this act between different cultures. In Elvish tradition, mainly Altmer, it is held as an act of trickery, where Lorkhan deceived the Aedra into doing this. Therefore, Lorkhan is looked at with disdain and spite, as he robbed the Aedra of much of their power and tied them to the world. They believe that in revenge, Lorkhan was slain by the Aedra and his heart, unable to be destroyed, was shot far away into the sea, where it formed Red Mountain. However, in more Padmaic beliefs, such as that of many human groups, it is more viewed benevolently, with some degree of trickery, but ultimately an act that mankind is grateful for. They see Lorkhan, or Shor, as a hero that sacrificed himself to create the world and mankind. The Dunmer have an interesting relationship with Lorkhan. They believe that while the world is harsh and full of suffering and torment, Lorkhan made it as a testing ground for transcendence. The heart of Lorkhan is also the source of power of the Tribunal, who are the main source of Dunmer worship for generations. Now, to get back to the Aedra as a whole, let us look at some notable ones. Many are familiar with the 8 divines, who are as follows: Akatosh, the dragon god of time; Arkay, the once mortal god of life and death; Dibella, the goddess of beauty and affection; Julianus, god of wisdom and logic and often associated with magic; Kinnereth, goddess of the winds, the seas, and elements; Mara, goddess of love, fertility, and compassion; Stendar, god of mercy, charity, and justice; and Zenithar, god of worship and commerce. Together they make up the 8 divines, a common pantheon of worship in Tamriel. With the controversial addition of Talos, making the 8 divines 9, he became the god of humanity. While most humans view this favorably, as the mortal Tiber Septim was often perceived as a hero, it is not taken well by the elves, especially the Altmer. They viewed the idea of a human ascending to godhood to be heresy, and we all know of the great war that followed because of this. Often grouped with the Aedra are the Earthbones. These spirits, also known as the Elnofe, decided not to abandon Mundus, working to keep it viable. They remained in the mortal realm and populated it, being commonly seen as the ancestors of the mortal races. The reason for the name Earthbones is that many of the Elnofe sacrificed themselves to form the very rules and laws of nature. As part of the contract of creation, Aedra, unlike Daedra, can be killed. Take for example Lorkhan and the moons, which are said to be his corpse. This is similar to how many of the Aedra seem to have celestial bodies in the form of planets. Therefore, it's theoretically possible, although very difficult, to kill an Aedra. That will wrap up today's video. Like I said earlier, I will in the future do a video on the Daedra, and possibly a video covering the 8 Divines. We will also cover Forgotten Realms lore still, so don't worry about that. I hope you enjoyed watching, and see you next time.